What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 10, War and Peace. Let's get into Matilda and Niles. So, Matilda has come to terms with Niles not telling her that there wasn't going to be a wedding for this trip. So, the whole thing between them was that he waited until the very last minute after he arrived in Ghana, I guess days before he was supposed to do the knocking ceremony, because soon after the knocking ceremony, which is a form of proposing, I guess, to the woman, making a formal proposal to the woman that you do intend to marry her. So after the knocking ceremony, they were supposed to get married like right away. So he didn't tell her until this trip that he has no intentions of getting married on this trip, but he gave her a ring as a promise that he intends to come back and he does intend to marry her. So at first, Matilda was really upset about him telling her that they were not going to get married on this trip. But after he explained to her that he has a problem with communicating because of his autism, he'll mask, I guess, to get through an uncomfortable situation. After explaining to her why he did what he did, and all of that is because of the fact that he's autistic, she understood and she gave him grace, and she was like, okay, I understand. Thank you for telling me, but now you just have to be a little bit more clear the next time around. And she just has to be more aware of what she's dealing with when she's dealing with Niles and his autism. So they're going to be leaving Accra to go to Kumasi, which is a city near her hometown. And they're going to stay in Kumasi for one night, and then the next day they're going to go to her hometown and meet the family. So Niles has to tell her family that there is not going to be a wedding, because they all expect for him to do the knocking ceremony. And after the knocking ceremony, the wedding is to take place like within, I'm assuming, a few days. So it is the day that Niles is to meet Matilda's family. He goes for a haircut first in the hotel that they're staying in Kumasi. He goes downstairs to get a haircut. The barber asks him, so what brought you to Kumasi? And he tells the barber that he's here for his woman. He met a woman from Ghana. They fell in love, and he is here to meet the family. And he also explains to the barber that there was some misunderstanding about his intention to get married and when to get married. And so now he has to break it to her family that there will not be a wedding taking place on this trip. So the barber tells him that, well, you need to be real careful because of the fact that you led the family to believe that there was going to be a wedding, but there isn't going to be a wedding. They can put a curse on you. So Niles, who's already full of anxiety about meeting her family and breaking the news to her family that there's not going to be a wedding, now that the barber had told him that her family can put a curse on him, he's even more concerned and he's even more worried. And the barber basically leaves him with this piece of advice: say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay. Say what you mean and mean what you say, and you're not gonna have these issues. So on their way to the family's home, Matilda is worried that Niles will start masking. I guess, not being very upfront with what his intentions are and misleading people. So she wants to go through with him. What exactly are you going to tell my family? And so he begins to tell her that he plans to say that he never told anybody. He didn't tell her mom, he didn't tell her uncles, her brothers, he didn't tell her that he ever intended to get married on this trip. That's what he plans on telling the family. And Matilda's like, hold up, nope, we're not going to go that route. I'm not going to let you lie. Okay. I'm not going to let you lie. I'm going to let you live because you explained to me about your whole situation with masking and being uncomfortable and not being able to read social situations and all of that. I'm going to let you live. Okay. But you're not going to tell my family that, because that's a bold-faced lie. So Matilda says, just tell them that, that this trip is for us to get to know each other and that you intend to come back on another trip or on a later trip for us to get married. And so they still do plan to go through with the knocking ceremony, even though a wedding will not be taking place. That's their intent. So they get to the house. He meets the family. They give him a very warm welcome. He's very gracious. He even attempts to speak their language, which I was, really impressed by that with Niles, that he attempted to speak their language to them. And he said that he felt comfortable around her family. He said that normally in a situation like this, where he's around all of these people, this big group of people, and they're all staring him down, he would be full of anxiety. But in this situation, he says that he felt comfortable because it felt like home to him. He had that feeling of family around her relatives. So Niles tells them that his intention is to marry Matilda. So he starts off by telling the family, look, I have every intention in the world to marry Matilda. Okay, I'm not playing around. This is not just a dating thing. I do plan on marrying this woman. Matilda tells him, oh, so after he tells them that, um, the family's like, okay, we accept that. We understand. We accept you marrying Matilda. And then there was like this moment of awkward silence because he didn't know exactly what to say next. He didn't know where to go from there. So he kind of looks over to Matilda and he's kind of like, help, what do I do next? What do I say next? So Matilda tells him to say that he is ready to do the knocking ceremony, but will do the wedding at his next trip to Ghana. So that first, the family's like, no, that's not tradition. That's not how we do it. When you do the knocking ceremony, you have to go through with the wedding soon after that. So at first they were not accepting of that. And so the family says, so after I guess he explained um why he couldn't get married at that particular time. The family says that they're gonna compromise with him. They're gonna give him 2 months to get married to Matilda. So Matilda already knows that Niles cannot do this in 2 months. So she already knows. So she tells him to tell the family that he can't give a specific date of when he's going to do the wedding ceremony after the knocking ceremony, but he has already given her a ring. And then, they show the ring, like, here's a ring, we're not playing. So he tells her, I've already given her the ring, which is my promise to her that I will return to Ghana to marry her. So, the family is like, okay, fine, whatever, we're going to accept that. Now, Matilda tells us in her confessional, she's like, you know what? Niles has to be real careful now because my family has made a lot of exceptions for him. Okay, I don't know if it's because they understand that he's autistic. Maybe there was something lost in the communication. Maybe he, whatever. But the family understands that he can't do it right now, and they're willing to allow him the time that he needs to do it whenever he's ready, but it needs to be done. And so, because the family has made this exception, Matilda says that Miles has no room anymore to mess up or to miscommunicate anything or to lead anybody on. Okay, they have given him so much exception to the rule that he has to be real careful on how he moves forward with Matilda and her family. And so I feel like everything is going to work out fine because I do see that Niles is very genuine about Matilda. He does, really want to marry her. And I see her also really wanting to marry Niles. And but I still feel like deep in my heart, I got to keep it real. I can't come up here and lie. I do feel like, she does intend to she wants to come to America. That doesn't mean that she doesn't love Niles. It doesn't mean that she doesn't like him or anything like that. But I do think that she is looking forward to coming to America. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It could probably help her family, by her coming to America, bettering her opportunities and being able to help her family better. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I do feel like, her intention ultimately, yes, is to marry Niles and also to come to the United States. And I do hope that everything does work out with them. Let's move on to Vanya and Bozo. I'm sorry, Bojo. So Bojo tells us that Vanya came to Croatia looking for an instant relationship, and he's just not ready to give that to her. He says that he was under the impression that they were going to take things really slow, that they were going to try to get to know each other, and that this really wasn't meant to be like an instant love connection. So, her first morning in Croatia, he comes to pick her up at her hotel or her apartment where she's staying at. He brings her a vegan breakfast, which is very thoughtful of him. So that day they go sightseeing, and it was really cute. I think there was one time where he like broke out in song. He improvised a song about her, her. And she thought that it was really, really cute. So she asks him, what did he tell his family about her? And he tells her, I told my family that you're very beautiful, that, you have really pretty eyes, you have a wonderful personality, all the good stuff. And so he said that his mother is very excited and she's ready for them to get married like yesterday. The mom is like super duper thrilled that Bojo has found someone and she wants them to hurry up and get married. So that made Vanya feel really good. And I'm like, Vanya, he's talking about his mom. He ain't talking about him. He ain't ready to get married to nobody, but the mother's ready to get married. But I guess it gave her a sense of, comfort to know that his family is looking forward to her and Bojo, getting married or having some type of a commitment. So the family seems to be ready to accept her. So that made her feel good, right? So then he tells her that he only has like friendship feelings towards her. He doesn't have those romantic feelings towards her. And this absolutely like brings her all the way down. And so Vanya says that, I don't understand because we've been talking for 5 or 6 months and I felt like there was a connection between us. And when I saw you, I felt like there was chemistry between us. And she asked him, are you even attracted to me? And he's like, yes, I am attracted to you, but I just want to take things really slow to see where they go. So Bojo tells us in his confessional that when he first saw Vanya, he did not feel the chemistry between them at all. And at this point, I was like, Vanya, it's time to go. It's time to pack your bags and leave. You came here with the intention of finding a romantic connection with this man and being boyfriend and girlfriend at the very least. And he's not even ready to do that, let alone getting married or anything else. It's time to go home. My experience in watching these type of shows is that when that chemistry isn't there initially, it's not going to come there. It's not going to grow. A lot of things will happen in their relationship. For example, they're probably going to have a whole bunch of sex. And then she's going to be misled by that. And he's probably going to do a whole bunch of romantic gestures. And every time she's going to check in to see, are you feeling the romantic connection? Are you feeling the chemistry? He's going to continuously tell her, no, not really. I'm still trying to see where things, it's just going to continue to go, like where it's going to be like he's constantly leading her on, because he's going to try to find that romantic connection. You're not going to find a romantic connection by acting like she's one of the homies. You're going to have to do romantic things with her. You're going to have to try to do boyfriend and girlfriend things with her to see if there is that connection. And then when he's trying to do those things, she's going to be misled into thinking that, oh, he must really like me now. He must be having those romantic feelings for me now because he's doing this, that, and the third. So you don't want to go through that, because at the end of the day, Vanya's going to have her heart broken. So she just needs to pack her bags and go home and try again with someone where you will have that instant connection with, that instant chemistry with. So because of the fact that he's telling her, I'm trying to see where things are going. I want to see, how it's going to develop between us and all of that. Then she's just going to be living on hope. She's going to be living on hope instead of living on love. And I don't think it's going to happen. Now, in real life, maybe chemistry can grow later. You can develop a chemistry with someone a little bit later on. But in a situation like this, where it seems like she's kind of like on a time frame, she's only in Croatia for so long. Who knows when they're going to see each other again? There's this whole, there's a possibility of applying for the K1 visa and them getting married and all this. There's like a time crunch. And so, yeah, if he's not feeling it now, I don't think he's going to feel it later. And I think it's just time for her to come back home. Vee and Sunny. So it's the day after Sunny found out that Vee came to South Africa with her ex-boyfriend, Rory. When he found out, he didn't find out because she was upfront and honest with him. He found out because he took her phone and he saw pictures of Vee and her ex-boyfriend Rory on the plane together, taking pictures, taking selfies on their way to South Africa. That's how he found out about Rory. So they had a big argument about that. He told her, I don't want you anymore, go back home. And now she's going to try to fight to try to get him back. So she's texting him, asking if they can meet up. He basically tells her to kick rocks. He doesn't want to see her. He doesn't want to have anything to do with her. He tells us that this woman really broke his heart and that he's over it. He's just basically over Vea and all of her shenanigans with Rory. So Vea goes to meet up with her ex-boyfriend Rory. Now she goes to like a marketplace to meet up with him. And there's like people are selling fruits and vegetables and all kinds of stuff. So she decides to buy some fruit from a fruit vendor. And she's actually trying to pay with Apple Pay. And the lady's like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. What are you talking about? And so she's like indicating with her phone, where's your register so I can just tap my phone. And the lady's like, what like sorcery or witchcraft are you talking about? So she calls Rory and asks Rory, do you have any cash? Luckily Rory came there with some sense, because yeah, Vea, I don't think you need to be traveling internationally ever again. Like, I don't understand how people don't come prepared. If you're going to go to a foreign country that you've never been to before, why don't you do some research? You do plan on eating there and spending money there, right? So why don't you find out? Why didn't you ask Sunny? Hey, when I come to South Africa and I want to buy something, what do I need to do? Do you have Apple Pay over there? Do I have to bring cash? Like, I don't understand how, like, the most basic of things, you don't know what the hell is going on there. And there's no excuse for that. There is no excuse for her not knowing how to pay for things in South Africa. So luckily Rory does have cash, and he comes there and he pays for her fruit. So Vea tells him everything that happened between her and Sunny, how Sunny found out about him, and Rory says, well, he can't let me being here ruin the whole relationship. Okay, this dude just found out that this girl that he's supposedly in love with showed up in his country with her ex-boyfriend. And he didn't find out because she told him. He found out because he looked at her phone. What are you talking about? How he cannot let that ruin the relationship? What? So Rory thinks that Sunny probably overreacted and that Vea did not do enough to explain to Rory, why she is the way she is, why she's so dependent on Rory. Like, what exactly is her relationship all about? And maybe if she would have explained more about the situation, he would understand better. Ah, okay. Finally, Sunny does agree to meet up with Vea, so he comes to the hotel that they were supposed to be staying at together, but he ended up going back home. But anyways, he comes back to the hotel. She has flowers for him, and they go talk on the balcony. And she says that she didn't tell him about Rory before leaving America because she thought that she didn't tell Sunny about Rory before she left America because she thought that Sunny would tell her to not even come to South Africa if he knew that she was going to be traveling with her ex. And because she was given up for adoption and she has all of these abandonment issues, she didn't want Sunny to abandon her. I felt like that was a little bit of a stretch. I felt like that was a little bit of a stretch. Um, yes, you probably do have abandonment issues because, your parents gave you away. Granted, that is very valid, that is very real. But you not telling your current boyfriend that your ex-boyfriend is coming to his country, that you and your ex-boyfriend are coming to his country together, you withholding that information from him, I don't think has anything to do, because he would have every right to want to break up with you at that point. If you would have told him before you left, hey, I'm coming with my ex-boyfriend, this is the reasons why. And if he didn't want to deal with that mess, he had every right to not deal with that mess. He would not have been wrong to say to you, well, I don't think I can do this then because I'm dating you. I'm not dating you and your ex. So I thought that was a bit of a stretch. I think that she was using her whole, my parents gave me away story as a manipulation tactic to manipulate him into taking her back. So then she talks about how she lost a baby as well. So she links all of that into why she didn't want to tell um, Sunny about Rory, and also to explain why Rory is so important to her. Because she's gone through some very difficult things in her life. Her brother passing away, Rory was there for her. Her losing her and Rory's baby, Rory was there for her. All of these things in her life that she went through, Rory was always there for her. So this is the reason why she didn't see anything wrong with him traveling with her to South Africa, because she really needed that support, someone to travel with her. So Sunny appeared to be understanding. And, he was very sympathetic with the stuff that she had been through in her life. He didn't know about the baby, but he was very sympathetic about that. And when she was talking about how Rory is so important to her, how he was such a great support system to her, how she really needs him in her life and all this and that, I was like, well, why don't you and Rory go to couples therapy and try again and try this relationship again? If this man is this important to you and you can't live without him, and even in your new relationships, you have to drag him along, then maybe you and Rory are meant to be together. Why don't y'all go to therapy and work out y'all's issues of why y'all broke up and try to reconcile? But anywho, so she tells Sunny, I have no romantic feelings with him. He has no romantic feelings with me. This is not romantic in any way. This is completely platonic. He's just a really, really good friend of mine. So she apologizes for not telling Sunny. Sunny tells her, well, I need you to communicate better. I don't want you to keep things from me. I want you to tell me everything. But in his confessional, he says that I'm not really sure about this. I don't know if I can handle this man being in her life like this because I'm feeling some kind of way. He says that it's making him feel uncomfortable and it's making him feel insecure when it comes to the bond that Vea and Rory have. It's weird. Okay? It's weird. It's great that after they broke up, they are still really good friends. And that's okay to still be friends with your exes. That's perfectly fine. But this type of involvement where you can't even travel to meet your boyfriend without your ex coming with you, that's weird. And I don't know if how involved he's going to be in their relationship. Like, if she has an argument with Sunny, is she going to run to Rory, for comfort and advice? If she needs to make a decision about something regarding her relationship, is she calling Rory? Like, how involved is this man going to be in your life when you've already explained to Sunny, hey, he's been through all this stuff with me. He's always been there for me, and he's really a really important factor in my life. It almost seems like Sunny's going to be dating the both of y'all. Moving on to Renee and Chitty. So Chitty asks to meet Renee at the beach. Now Renee was hoping that Chitty would meet her at the hotel because she wanted to put them moves on him. She got her little lingerie ready for him, talking about how soft the material feels, and even though he can't see, he's going to feel how soft the material is and feel her body underneath. Chitty was like, I'll meet you at the beach. So they meet at the beach, and the plan is for Chitty to break up with Renee. Chitty has had enough of Renee and her rudeness, her insensitivity, her bashing his sister constantly. He's had enough of all of that. So he wants to break up with her, but he wants to do it really tactfully with a lot of care and consideration. So they meet at the beach, and she's all excited because she thinks that, she's winning him back. And so the conversation got bad. Okay, so as he's trying to explain to her why this may not work out, because, he talks about how, look, I don't really appreciate how you've been treating my sister and the things that you've been saying about my sister. And I know you have an issue with sisters and all of that, but this is just, it's not fair and it's unwarranted. And so he's like trying to touch her shoulder while he's talking to her, and she keeps like moving away, shrugging him off. And then she takes his hand and puts his hand on his lap and says to him, don't touch me, touch yourself. You're used to that. That is nasty. That is disgusting. That is disrespectful. And Chitty should have got up and left right then and there. This should have been the end of the conversation right then and there. But no, it continues. So as he's trying to explain himself, or as far as why this relationship is not going to work, she's interrupting him, she's over talking him, she's yelling at him. She says some really off the wall stuff. She says, "Go suck your sister's tit. Are you sharing the milk?" um, Chitty insinuates that maybe the reason why her past relationships were problematic and they ended, maybe it was because of her, because she's a very toxic person. He insinuates this. He doesn't come right out and say it, but he kind of alleges to it. He hints at it that maybe the reason why things don't work out for you is because of your really nasty attitude. And so she says that she chose to leave. She was the one that left the men that her past boyfriends that ended up turning to heroin and crack and meth. And so she's driving these men to drug addictions. That's what I gathered when she said that. I'm like, how do all of your boyfriends, or the majority of your boyfriends, all of them end up on drugs after dealing with you? Like, what? You're basically saying that you drove all these men to like drug addictions. So she tells him that, she says, you know what, you're messing with the wrong person. And this was very reminiscent of Angela. Um, with Angela and Michael, very reminiscent because, Angela would always yell at Michael, you're messing with the wrong American. You're messing with the wrong person. It was very reminiscent of that. And so Rain asks him, well, maybe you were just with me for a visa. Is that what it is? Is it just about you coming to America, or just using me for a visa? And he was really offended by that. And he says to us in his confessional, if I was with her for a visa, then I would have done everything she wanted me to do. I would have slept with her. I would have separated myself from my family. I would have done everything that she wanted me to do if I was just desperate for a visa. And he tells her, when she said that, he tells her, if I'm destined to come to America, the Lord will make a way for me to come to America, and it won't be dependent on you. So then he finally tells her, yeah, it's not going to work out. So, yeah, this is going to be the last time that we're having any kind of conversation. This is the end. Um, this is it. You go your way, I'm going to go my way. And so after that, he gets in his Uber and he's back home. Thank God. Praise the Lord. This is one of the smartest men I've ever seen on 90 Day Fiance. uh, he listened to his family. He listened to his friends, because normally nobody listens to anybody. They go with what they want. But he listened to his family and friends. He waited out. He thought about it long and hard. He gave her a chance after chance after chance. Then when he realized she's not changing, she's still the same toxic person that she's always been, yeah, I got to go. He gave her the deuces, got into his Uber, and left. Tiger Lily and Adnan. So Tiger Lily has arrived in Turkey. Remember, they're meeting in Turkey because they want to have babies. So they want to start making babies. And he can't come to America yet. And they couldn't do it in Jordan because Jordan is going through a situation right now. So they decided to meet in Turkey. So Adnan had decorated the hotel, very romantical, with the candles and the roses and the flowers and all this and that. So she arrives and she sees everything, and he's trying to be very romantic with her. He's starting to hug her and kiss her and everything, and she's cold as ice. She is as cold as ice. And so she's still pissed off about his thirst trap posts on his social media. He posted something with him, shirtless, coming out of the shower or something. And she's really pissed off because he can post sexy pictures of himself, but she can't. So she wants to get to the bottom of that. But I also thought to myself, isn't he a model? I mean, doesn't he do this to like gain popularity and all this and that so he can get modeling gigs? I don't know. I thought he was a model on the internet. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But he posted a thirst trap, and she's really pissed off because she's like, if you can do it, I should be able to do it too. So she wants to talk about the post. She doesn't want to get romantic with him. She wants to talk about the thirst trap post. So Tiger Lily talks about how, there's a double standard, and what if she posted pictures of herself? Whenever she starts talking like that, it's so boring to me. Whenever she says, but what if I did this? You did that, and what if I were to do? It's so boring when she says stuff like that to me. I almost like tune out. So he tells her, it's different with you. You have breasts. You're not going to be posting pictures of yourself topless. But I got the gist of what she was saying. Basically, she's like, hey, what if I post very seductive, provocative, sexy pictures of myself, like the way you do? You post in thirst traps. What if I posted thirst traps? And so he tells her, no, that's just not going to happen. So then he's upset. He tells her that, you know what, you kind of ruined the vibe. You ruined everything that I was trying to plan for you. We haven't seen each other in 2 months. I wanted to get, close to you. I wanted it to be a very romantic night for us. And you just want to argue about social media posts. And so, like, the whole vibe now is absolutely ruined. So he gets up and he walks away for a while. So she's like, I want to be able to communicate with you. I want us to have open conversations. I don't want to have to tiptoe around you. If something is bothering me, I want to talk about it with you instead of just, being scared to say things to you. So he tells her, look, you know what? The timing was just off with the whole conversation. As soon as you walk in here, you see all that I've done for you to make this a very, very special night for you. And you want to start arguing about social media and double standards on this other stuff. And I just don't want to do that right now. The timing is just off. We can talk about that, but just not right now. Because he wants to get to the baby making part. So, she says that she's not going to allow the double standard. So I guess for him, he's tired of arguing. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to have to get along to get along. So he's like, you know what? Okay, fine, Tiger Lily, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And so she tells him that this has got nothing to do with religion, because he tells her how this is really, in my religion, women are not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to show your body. And she's like, well, I don't really care about religion. This is about you respecting me. I want you to respect me enough and trust me enough that, I can do whatever I want. And it's not whatever she was talking about. She was basically like, I don't care about your religion. I just want you to respect me to the point where there is no double standard between us. I think that's what she was trying to say. So, like I said, he was just trying to hurry up and get to the baby making part. So he just told her whatever the hell she wanted to hear. And yeah, he's just like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're wrong. I'm right. Let's just start making these babies. And that's where it ended, y'all. Tiger Lily and Adnan. I don't have a lot of hope in that relationship. I really don't. I don't understand how you can marry a practicing Muslim man and then expect things to be 1,000% equal between the two of you. If he does something, you feel like you can do the same thing. I just don't see how that's going to work. If he's serious about his religion, I don't see how that's going to work. Maybe if he wasn't maybe if he was a non-practicing Muslim, maybe, but yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.